right, now we'll turn to our energy agenda. And the first item is item 28. So I'm going to introduce this item, and I'm sure it'll gain great receptivity from the audience. But this is a different perspective, and I hope people will carefully listen. 2 weeks ago, the White House, President Barack Obama, sent a technology emissary to California. Anish Chopra, the Chief Technology Officer of the United States of America, came to recognize the Public Utilities Commission and California Utilities for taking a step forward and deploying smart meters.
No way. No way.
I'm asking quiet. We respected the rights of all of you to speak, okay? In a follow-up story about the event, the New York Times said, quote, "The White House hopes that someday soon everyone will be able to monitor and control their home energy usage.
The government will.
And lower their monthly utility bills with a few swipes of a smartphone app." End of quote. The event that Mr. Chopra attended was about the Green Button Initiative. In very tangible terms, think of the Green Button as an iPhone app to gain access to your energy consumption without having to go to your utility site. Frankly, we are at the beginning of implementing this national vision in this state. And when we are done, the final manifestation of this vision will be a fully empowered energy consumer. What I mean by that is, we can't have a truly informed and proactive consumer without information transparency. A consumer cannot modify their behavior unless and until they are informed in a more meaningful way that a monthly bill with usage data they can't possibly be expected to interpret or understand, and how it translates to their basic usage from day to day. And that understanding begins with transparency, which itself begins at a very basic level to one's own usage in real time. And meters are a foundation to funding surfacing this information.
Lie.
How's that going to be public? That's some transparency from this organization.
Now, how do we come to this inflection point? In 2009, President Obama signed into law the stimulus package to jumpstart the economy. The stimulus package included $4.3 billion for smart grid technology investments. Most of this $4.3 billion went to states asking to fund the deployment of smart meters using the same wireless mesh network that our utilities are using here in California. 25 states, one half, so far have deployed smart meters, and many other states are planning to do so in the near future. Oregon, Colorado, Hawaii, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Texas, and the list goes on. California began deploying smart meters in 2007. For the first 2+ years, we didn't hear any complaints about accuracy, health, or privacy. These concerns began surfacing in June and July of 2009 when pg&e was deploying the latest smart meters in the Bakersfield area.
The wireless ones.
In hindsight, the upgrade during the hottest months of the year in one of the hottest counties in California, frankly, to all of us, seemed unintelligent. And it was at this point that customers complained about inaccurate meter reads and high bills. And this commission acted. We hired independent experts to test and analyze pg&e smart meters. The independent experts submitted a report to us on September 2, 2010, saying the smart meters are actually more accurate than the old analog. Many of the initial backlash against smart meters was in fact a reaction against naturally higher bills caused by higher usage and caused by temperature. In this instance, as is often the case, correlation does not imply causation. Then we heard about the health concerns. The California Council on Science and Technology, which I want to point out is chaired by the president of Humboldt State University in Arcata, California, hardly a hotbed of conservative thought, was commissioned to review all the research and reports and studies having to do with RF exposure. The CCST's mission is to improve science and technology policy and application in California by proposing programs, conducting analyses, and recommending public policies and initiatives that will maintain California's technological leadership. In March 2011, 10 months ago, the CCST issued its report, California Council of Science and Technology. It said, amongst other things, number one, wireless smart meters, when properly installed and maintained, result in much smaller levels of radio frequency exposure than many existing common household electronic devices, including cell phones and microwave ovens. Two, this is their report.
Wrong.
It's wrong. It doesn't mean it's
Yeah, why
wrong.
read it to us? It's wrong.
Please, sir, we gave you the courtesy.
Yeah, 1 minute each.
Yeah, half a minute to talk.
You
That's
spoke an hour and a half, all of you. The current FCC standard 2 provides an adequate factor of safety against known thermally induced health impacts of existing common household electronic devices and smart meters. 3 to date scientific studies have not identified or confirmed negative health effects from potential non-thermal impacts of RF emissions,
Where the proof?
such as those produced by existing common household electronic devices and smart meters. Now, we're not a public health agency, this commission,
That's for sure.
but we do pay attention to something like CCST and the FCC.
What about the WHO?
We have also received customer complaints and concerns about privacy and security. And once again, the Commission took action. In July of last year, we adopted privacy and security rules for customer data generated by smart meters that are deployed by the utility. The CPUC was the first state regulatory body in the United States to adopt privacy rules for customer data generated by smart meters. The Center for Democracy and Technology and Civil Liberties Group said, quote, all in all, the California smart meter privacy rule is a remarkable achievement that merits the attention of not only utility, CPUCs in other states, but also stakeholders in other sectors. For it shows that a comprehensive privacy and data security framework can be crafted that supports both technology innovations and consumer protection.
Every computer security firm has stated that these are eminently hackable.
And yet, even after all of this, some customers ask for an opt-out program. Once again, we're acting on the opt-out program. Today's decision will allow those customers who don't wish to have a smart meter the ability to opt out. The initial fee to opt out is not what PG&E proposed, but it's to opt out and retain your analog meter, it's $75 plus a monthly fee of $10. For low-income customers who wish to opt out and retain their analog meters, the initial fee is $10 and the monthly fee is $5. We're not the only state that's doing it. Maine has a program like this. As
It's illegal.
What about your 3 rich neighbors that won't change it?
Well, we are allowing an opt-out option in California. We're not taking a step backwards. We want customers not to be in the dark about energy information. We want to empower customers, and we think this is a major step to do so. But for those of you who want to opt out, you have the ability to do so under the terms of this decision.
Sir, I have
So it's
40
time to move forward.
Say
So
stand
What does
up.
that mean for me?
Colleagues, I ask for your vote.
What does that mean for me?
Colleagues, I ask for your vote. I now turn to others here.
How can people
Serve the public
If
interest.
there's any comments that you would like to make.
How come people who live in multi-unit buildings with 20 or 40 meters afford to pay for all of their neighbors
I
to
can't
opt
do
out
that.
these fees? How can they afford to pay many thousands of dollars? We're not talking $75.
Let's move on. Come on, Commissioner Simon, Commissioner Spann. Please, we're going to have to, if you're going to be disruptive, you're going to have to clear the room. So I don't want to do that. I want you to be able to listen and participate here, but not by yelling and screaming. We all listened very quietly to you for an hour and a half. We did pay attention, despite the words to the contrary. I looked at every speaker very, very carefully. And now it's our turn to speak. We're the commissioners here. Okay? Isn't that fair?
Only if you represent us.
Thank you, President Peevey. Today's decision provides a choice to customers who would like to opt out of PG&E smart meter installation program at a much lower cost than originally proposed. It is a great example of how public initiative and participation can result in a better regulatory policy. While I support smart grid technology and believe that it will be an important market-driven conservation tool, supporting such important measures as energy efficiency and demand response. I believe today's decision will continue to keep California's Energy Action Plan loading order and encouraging more energy efficiency. As the assigned commissioner to the Low-Income Oversight Board and the public purpose programs in this commission, I do, however, have particular concerns on whether the interim fee leveled on CARE, California Alternative Rates for Energy customers, that are based on the projected 145,800 opt-out customers is accurate. If this projected number is not correct and turns out lower than the number projected, there should not be an undue burden on CARE customers. Perhaps then we should look into whether it makes sense to socialize costs and ask if only ratepayers be on the hook for this business uncertainty. I certainly will not advocate that we should charge CARE customers more in order to discourage an opt-out choice. Going forward, we need to develop records that could support adopting specific revenue requirements to examine PG&E's proposed costs and request revenue requirements. I also believe that we should assign a separate proceeding to investigate the consumer backlash by holding public participation hearings, value public health over public policy, and provide all customers the right to safe and reliable utility service. But such proceeding will be separate than this proceeding and be outside the scope of this proceeding. Let me just say this. We've been listening for a long time to the health concerns of many, and if you look at pages 13 through approximately 17 of the decision, which I think is a very well-written decision. I want to commend President Peevey and Administrative Law Judge Yipagawa. It lists all the organizations that support the scientific findings of this proceeding, and I think it's a very impressive list to name a few. The Institute of, this is on page 13, the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, the IEE, the National Council on Radiation Protection and Measurements, the NCRP, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the Food and Drug Administration, and other health safety agencies. All have collectively stated that the health impacts of radio frequencies are contrary to what our public speakers have stated.
That's not true.
And in this nation, we do fully support open dialogue. I wanted to express something else regarding this decision. And I've said this when I recently, it's been a while now, when I spoke to the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, a roundtable, and I've even made this comment to the CTIA Wireless Association. There are many stakeholders out there who are benefiting from wireless technology, from those who are writing the applications for the iPhone and Android systems, to other entities that are involved in the aggregating of data on energy usage for purposes of market strategies, often designed to limit or hedge against cost. And I'm very disappointed that the many, many beneficiaries of wireless technology have remained, excuse the term, radio silent through this process. This has largely been a one-sided public comment, and I will continue to urge the beneficiaries to come forward and to speak up about this very important global technology. A technology, by the way, as President Peevey has pointed out, is being installed by the San Francisco Water Department, the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission. I do believe that the states do have an obligation to protect the health, safety, and welfare of citizens. And while I personally believe the data that's been provided on the technology, I also am a large advocate for due process. And just in closing, I've stated that I will not oppose a separate docket that would take a closer examination. But I do feel that there are other important stakeholders in this process, including the State Department of Health and Human Services and other entities that actually have more jurisdiction over the health impacts of technologies that impact our state. So I want to thank my energy advisor, Bishu Chatterjee, for his work on this. And again, I want to commend President Peevey for once again taking an unpopular stance, but a stance that I feel provides a balance to the marketplace. I also want to thank ALJ Yip Kikugawa and my former Chief of Staff, Margia Safar, for their excellent work on the interim portion of this decision. Thank you. Commissioner Sandoval, there you go.
I support providing an analog opt-out option for residential customers based on whatever reasons they choose. I think it is also noteworthy that this decision sets up a memorandum account that will allow us to more closely evaluate and track cost to determine an appropriate cost allocation in a subsequent phase of the decision. I wanted to emphasize that we will continue to analyze these issues in phase 2 of the proceeding, and I'd also like to support Commissioner Simon's suggestion that we should analyze a number of the issues which have been brought up, including the UL issue, as well as the number of pulses to ensure that, to evaluate these concerns and to ensure that things are operating or designed as they should be. And I also wanted to support Commissioner Simon's suggestion that we need to observe the procedures of this commission so that we can adequately hear your comments in a way that is consistent with our procedures. Thank you.
Commissioner Ferron, any comments?
Good morning. As discussed in the proposed decision, advanced metering infrastructure, or as PG&E brands it, the smart meter, is now the standard for customer metering in the state. That's not the subject of this decision. The issue at hand concerns the terms under which an alternate to this standard is to be offered to residential customers. Obviously, PG&E's smart meter rollout has been controversial, as evidenced by the wide variety of public speakers we've had at the Commission on this topic. And I know that this proposed decision is also controversial. But I believe that this decision strikes a fair balance between the requirements of California's energy policy, the need to be diligent on the costs borne by ratepayers more generally, and the desire by some individuals who wish to choose an alternate metering technology. The decision also balances the desire to provide this choice to those individuals without further delay, while we investigate several key issues in a further phase. Issues such as the final cost of the individual opt-out option, the possibility in terms of any potential multi-dwelling or community opt-out option, and how these costs should be allocated between consumers who choose these options, the rest of the rate-paying public, and PG&E shareholders. I recognize that this is very much an interim decision with many yet to be decided issues in phase 2. However, I believe it strikes a reasonable balance at this time, subject to further deliberations. I plan to monitor closely what happens, including implementation and rate-making details. And I'll just say to PG&E, I expect that you will diligently and sensitively explain to all of your customers exactly what we're proving today. I also recognize that there have been a number of health, privacy, and other concerns expressed by members of the public, both here during the public comment session of the Commission meetings, at our hearings on the proceeding, and to me directly. I have tried to listen to these concerns and to follow these arguments. I know that some may be disappointed by today's decision. I also suspect that regardless of the nature of the decision reached by this Commission, some people may never be satisfied. In the end, I am comfortable with the opt-out approach taken by the proposed decision, and I would like to thank President Peevey and Judge Yip Kikugawa for all of their efforts on this very contentious issue. And with that, I will offer my support.
Thank you. Okay. I move the item. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay.
Oh my God, jail.
You should jail.
We jail.
Leave the public vote room.
Now we're moving to...
We refuse to pay. Our house is not for sale. We refuse to pay. Our house is not for sale.
We say no fee, charge the utility. 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 We say no fee, charge the utility.
utility.
Can you guys?
We found month after month, we got to, these guys are idiots.
Why, man? I can't sleep in my own goddamn house.
A whole bunch of people.
Victor, you want to help get everybody?
All of you take out your meters. Hire a contractor to do it. You don't have to put up with it.
We refuse to pay. Our help is not for sale.
Pay your bills
We refuse to pay. Our help is not for sale. We refuse to
She
pay.
is crying
Our help
to
is not for
you.
sale.
This is a crime against humanity. This is a crime against humanity.
She's right.
Shame on you.
It is.
Let's go.
You should be ashamed of
We refuse to
yourself.
pay.
You guys are assholes. PG&E shareholders.
How do you
Crimes
say
against
that?
humanity.
Can we have a little security here, please?
Why are
Yeah, safety and security.
Why?
Do your job.
You guys
You're
weren't
supposed to be responsible
assholes.
for security. You are security, supposedly.
Your decision doesn't even talk about that. Why aren't PG&E shareholders being required to pay for these expenses?
Shame.
Shame on you.
Shame on you.
This is
You're
not a
not
balanced
serving the
decision.
public interest.
This is not balanced.
I'm gonna have to leave my house. I'll have to leave America because of you guys. Thank you.
This is not a balanced decision. You guys are really full.
I've been sick for 2 years because of you guys. I've explained it from every single angle, and you guys still don't get it. It's called fascism, authoritarianism, and you just stand there like arrogant pigs.
What I said before, Mr. Peevey is trying to protect PG&E profits. That's why
Can we please clear the room, Victor, and the law
Clear
enforcement
the
here?
smart meters off our homes and out of our neighborhoods. Class action lawsuit.
We'll come to your houses soon, and so will Occupy. We'll come to your houses. You'll feel like what it's like. We've already started doing it. We'll do more of it. Your privacy will be at risk. We know where each one of you lives.
shame on you. Shame on you.
Shame on you. Shame.
You've buried your consciences. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Unbelievable.
Thank you,
just
Governor
sit
Brown,
there
for your
still. What is
consumer-friendly
your problem?
commissioners. Thank you so much.
Unbelievable.